Well, there will be a football game, high school football game tomorrow. And Holy Trinity, Notre Dame Bishop Gibbons, and Spa Catholic and Catholic Center's combined team, Holy Trinity, they're pretty good. And they got a 1 o'clock playoff game tomorrow, and it will be played despite the fact that last night an overnight fire, and somebody, from what the officials are saying, deliberately went into this field house and set this place on fire, and all their equipment is gone. And donations are coming in like crazy. The Recovery Sports Grill now up to over 2,000 and climbing. They have a Facebook page where you can help out, GoFundMe page to accept donations for the school and to help out so they can get in the football field tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and they've got some money to spend. Big game James Allen from the Times Union, who covers the high school scene better than anybody and loves doing it and does a great job with it. It joins us here for a few minutes every Friday on Big Board Sports. Good morning, Big Game.
Morning, Roger.
Craziness when I woke up this morning and found out what happened at Notre Dame Bishop Gibbons at 2:15 this morning.
Yeah, no doubt. I was covering that game tomorrow anyway, and this is pretty bizarre to hear this, and just hopefully they will apprehend the person that did this.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. They will find out who did it. And then the pouring in of donations, Big Game, and I'm sure you're not surprised how this community rallies around something like this. And I guess other high schools are calling and helping out with, shoulder pads and, the shoes. They need equipment. They need everything because everything was destroyed. The University of Albany, I know, has reached out. Greg Gattuso and the football program, the athletic department, Mark Benson. So, everybody trying to do everything they can to, get these guys, ready to go for a football game tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, it's already, you're preparing for a playoff game, and, this is a combined program, obviously, and they have had, minimal success. Both programs have had minimal success prior to merging, in recent years. And then, to have this situation, I mean, you're already, having something to deal with. You're playing a state-ranked team, and this is the last thing you're thinking ever is going to ever come up to have to deal with. And now you do, and it's a great sign, and it just shows, the kind of people we have around this area to be able to spring to action so quickly.
Well, Holy Trinity is a good team, and the matchup on Saturday is a good one. Yeah,
I mean, you have a very deep field in Class C. I mean, it's the only one that has 3 divisions. It's by far the largest classification among the 5. You have 17 teams, and the 7th seed is Holy Trinity, and they're 5-2, and they're a very good team. Hoosick Falls is a very dangerous 8 seed at 4-3, and you look around and you have multiple teams. Nobody's undefeated in this class. They're all pretty good. I mean, you got 4 6-1 teams, you got 3 5-2 teams, and 1 4-3 team, and any of these teams are capable of getting to the final, and that's pretty rare. You can't really say that in every other class. Like able to pull an upset as a lower seed, maybe one game, but to actually think that there's a possibility that any of these teams can get to the Super Bowl, and they are. They're a good team. They've had some adversity on the field. They lost their quarterback to a hand injury a few weeks ago, and they just kind of, rolled with everything, and they're going to have to do that again, obviously, tomorrow.
All right, let's get to some other games. And tonight, a busy Friday night quarterfinals in high school football. One that intrigues me is Shenendehowa at Shaker, which has become a rivalry game over the years.
Yeah, they played 4 times in the playoffs since 2010. Shen won the first 2, and then Shaker won the last 2 meetings. And it's going to be interesting, Roger. You got a team in Shen that they look like they're on their way to getting blown out last week against Goldwyn deep into the game, and then all of a sudden they made a quarterback switch. They brought Mike Spolnick, who was in a battle in the beginning of the season for that job. They took him out of receiver, put him at quarterback, and in the second half, and he threw for 242 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Blazing had a lot of turnovers, but boy, they made that game interesting. Actually got it to 47-44 against Gillen, who's the Empire Division champions. And
yeah, that was a wild game last week.
It was a wild game. I mean, as wild as we've had in Section 2 this year, and Gillen had 8 turnovers, or excuse me, Shen had 8 turnovers in the game and still almost pulled it off.
Yeah, so. I saw the onside kick they recovered right at the end of the game.
But what Spalding brings to their offense is a more vertical threat down the field, and that would have to change Shaker's defensive plan, because of what a lot of teams have done, especially the teams that have had success against them. They've been able to take away the run and really load up the box. And so what you're doing is you're putting, in essence, if you can get a couple of stops on first and second down, you're putting them in third and long, and more predictable situations. Certainly from the defense, it's harder for the offense, and then you get the defense going to be able to pin their ears back and come for the quarterback. So if you have that vertical threat, even on first down, your defense can't be as one-sided in its approach. So it definitely makes them more dangerous. And Shakers, had their struggles last week, which was interesting. They played Bethlehem in a game that they were trying to, at the very least, secure the number 2 seed. They were able to do it, but it was only 20-7, and so Shakers going to have to bring their level. And they've had some interesting games. In fact, the last time they played was at Shaker in the playoffs a few years ago, and it was 23-21. So they're certainly capable. Different team, obviously, different players, but they always seem to bring the best against each other. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out tonight. Yeah,
Shen 4-3, Shaker 6-1. Winner will get Guilderland. In a minute here, big game. Just real quickly, Amsterdam, Lansingburg, Ravenna against Schuylerville. That's an A quarterfinal, Amsterdam-Berg, and Ravenna-Schuylerville B quarterfinals. Are both those games competitive tonight?
Well, I think Lansingburg's going to show up a little better than they did the last time they played. They actually played Amsterdam earlier in the year. It was 35-0, and that was after Trey Holloway had broken his leg the previous week, and Amsterdam, really took it to Berg that night. Berg played a really strong game most of the way against Aero Park last week. I would expect them to give him more of a fight. The more interesting one, I think, is Ravenna and Schuylerville, just because Ravenna beat Schuylerville in week 2 after Schuylerville had beaten Chalmont to open the season. Schuylerville's really picked their play up since that time. Ravenna's had their struggles at some times. Weren't able to beat either Hudson or Chalmont in the Rhineford division. I think it's a pretty even matchup, and I think that one is probably among the 16 playoff games this weekend. I think it's probably one of the ones I think will be really close either way. And I would expect, Schuylerville should be the slight favorite at home this time, and they had a big win last week against Greenwich. So, interesting. It's always going to be an upset. You're going to see an upset or two in this quarterfinal round. It happens every year.
Big game, James Allen, every Friday here on Big Board Sports, talking high school sports, and right now, the start of the high school football playoffs. Enjoy your weekend, Big Game. Thanks for a few minutes.
Appreciate it, Roger. Talk to you later.